Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Spiritual Essence. My hair is all wet because I just took a shower, about to go to bed, and I thought I'd make a little video beforehand. So there is a darker side to my spiritual journey long ago that I wish to tell you about as both a cautionary tale and as part of an evolutionary stage on your spiritual path. So many years ago, when I was going through high school, obviously it was a wonky time. Um, I was still unsure about who I was, who I wanted to be. I didn't have that many friends. I didn't really have a social life at all. And um, a lot of those emotions started to bubble up into something negative, and it was starting to take a toll on my mental health. And as I was experiencing these emotions, I was also practicing magic. And I thought, what if there was a way to harness this energy and turn it into something that I could use? And that's at the time when I came across the movie Cabin in the Woods. And spoiler alert, just so you know. So, Cabin in the Woods is kind of like a parody movie, but not a parody off of every horror movie ever. And it's about these kids who go to this cabin in the woods. They come across this cellar, and each item within the cellar coordinates with a deadly creature that is designated to kill them as part of a sacrifice to a god who has created these horrible army of nightmare kind of things. And they're killed off one by one as part of the sacrifice. Well, I started turning my negative emotions into these horrible creatures of untold chaos and evil. And I turned them into evil guardians. Guardians that I gave enough energy to become something powerful. And using my powers of the mind and my imagination, I sealed these negative guardians in my mind in these little cells that they couldn't escape from unless I opened them. And I put them in this organization called the OIM, the Organization for Imaginary Monsters. And it's as silly as it sounds. That was the best name I could come up with at the time, but it still exists. And whenever someone did me wrong, I would roll a dice 3 times, and this dice was a wooden cube that I had found. I colored, and then I put numbers on each side of it. And I would roll the dice 3 times, and that 3-digit number corresponded with a creature. And that's what I would sick on them, basically. I would send to them as punishment. Some examples of this. So, one time, I started making friends in senior year, and my best friend at the time found out that her boyfriend was cheating on her. And as punishment, I rolled the dice and I sent a creature known as Daisy to him. Daisy is she looks like a little girl with a ballerina outfit on. However, her face is has this doll-like face that's sewn into her face, like onto her face, sewn into the skin. And she dances around, and whenever she sees a victim, she can make them burst into flames with her mind. Well, I let her loose, and using my mind, I pictured her going through his mind and lighting things on fire. And eventually they got together again. Wasn't the brightest idea, but I couldn't stop her. But anyway, and that's when I learned that apparently the next morning he woke up with this sunburn all over him. And he wasn't in the sun. He wasn't playing out in the sun. And in fact, I think it was like going on the winter time at that time. So he was like, "What was this?" And when I told him about it, he was afraid of me. And my friend Grace at the time, she said, "Yeah, he's really scared of you. He's very worried." And I'm like, "Well, that makes me happy." Another thing was one of my monsters. I did not send this to my best friend Grace, but it appeared to her in a dream. And she described it to me, and I knew exactly which monster it was. And from what I understand, he was just checking up on her because these monsters can feel energy. And they know if I don't want them to attack someone, they won't attack someone. This particular monster was called, don't laugh, the Breeder. And the reason he's called the Breeder is because he's this very tall, cloaked figure, and he holds these massive chains in his hands that lead to hellhounds that he unleashes on people. And that's why he's called the Breeder. He breeds these hellhounds. Well, he didn't attack her. He stood there in the dream, and he was just standing there. And he pointed at her, and that was it. So when she described it to me, I knew exactly what this was. And the only thing I could assume was that he was saying, "Hey, we will protect you." And then I remember having a dream myself where I was in the OIM and I could see the cells with all the monsters coming in, and they looked exactly how I imagined them. It was very brief, like I was like flying through, but I could see each cell moving, and I could see the giant octopus that I had, and he was in this tank full of water, and the water was actually getting out of the tank a little bit, and another one was a witch. I could see her floating around in the cube cell, and so on. And finally, another example. I didn't exactly get to see this happen, but I have been a part of these pagan sites on Facebook, and I met a lot of people on there who actually wanted to learn something from me because I told people that I was actually well versed in magic. Well, I was contacted by this one woman who said that her husband had been mistreating her and she had to leave him, but she wanted to get revenge because he was also doing the same to her children. And at first, I wasn't sure about it, but then I said, well, if she wants to learn it, so be it. And I told her exactly how to do it. I told her to take everything negative she was feeling towards him and in her mind slowly form it into a creature of the most horrible variety, and what it will do to people if it sees them and what's it like. And I told her to put it in a prison in her mind and save it for when she needs it. And she said, "Okay, well, thank you. I'll do that." I never heard from her again, but I can only assume that she used it. Who knows if it worked for her? Personally, if what she was saying was true, I hope it did, and I hope she didn't misuse it. But, well, free will. Take it or leave it. And also, I know that some people watching this may think about abusing it. So, therefore, I would also like to usher in a warning to people. So, I created this one creature out of so much negative energy that I was feeling. I would basically feed it every day with like negative energy. It would absorb all the negative emotions I was feeling. So, I wouldn't feel them anymore, but he did. He looked like this winged creature with these orange kind of sunglasses on, one of those visor glasses, and he had this wavy red hair, and sharp claws and a long pointy tail, and he was just ferocious. I forget what I called him, but it's probably best I forgot his name. But he started getting out of the cells that I imprisoned him in my mind, that I kept him in prison with, and he kept like infiltrating my mind, and I kept seeing him, and soon enough he started speaking to me, and he started telling me to do bad things. And eventually I said enough. So I opened the cell in my mind, and then I imagined these vines coming up from the ground and taking a part of him, like both arms, both legs, around his waist, around his neck, and then using my mind, I split him into pieces, and all of a sudden his body shattered like glass, and then I could feel all this negative energy just release. So I would like to serve that as a warning to you guys, that be careful how much negative energy you feed these creatures if you do make them. I have about 372 in a PowerPoint presentation on my computer. And eventually, since I am working with animation, I do want to make a YouTube video, multiple YouTube videos showing off these creatures and what they do. And I'll let you guys know when I do that. But I just want you guys to know that, yeah, be careful about these creatures, because in time they can develop minds of their own, and they will behave how you feed them. You know, you are what you eat. You feed them negative energy, they'll become it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button so you don't miss any of my future uploads. And stay safe. Good night.